Hello everybody, we are currently sitting in a Mitsubishi Outlander. This is a 2023 model, and today I'm going to teach you how to use adaptive cruise control on this vehicle. Certain Mitsubishis may have different systems, so this happens to be a 2023 Outlander SE, and it has the navigation system, so that gives it the My Pilot Assist with Navigation Link adaptive cruise control, but I'm mainly just going to talk about the basics of the adaptive cruise control system right now. So the adaptive cruise is the system that if you just set the cruise control and there's no one around, it just goes like normal cruise control, but because we have all of the cameras and safety features and such, if it sees the vehicle in front of us and it's going slower than our maximum speed, it can slow down to pace that vehicle. And on this 2023 Outlander, it can also slow down and bring itself to a complete stop if need be. It's not a self-driving system. It's not meant to, have you sit back and take a nap. You still need to pay attention. You still need to keep your hands on the wheel. But with all that being said, let's go over the controls. On this car, the little green car with the circles around it on the steering wheel activates the system. So on this screen, the system is off. If I push it again, now it's on. It brings up the safety graphics. And then that is going to go away, and there we go. That means that our adaptive cruise control is activated, but it's not yet set. To set it, fittingly enough, we bump down on this little toggle switch to set when we get the vehicle up to speed. We can also bump down to lower our set speed. That's why it has a little minus right there. And then the plus, we do that to raise our speed once it's set. If you have to bring the vehicle to a stop using the brakes, you can also bump up to resume the cruise control, or if the car brings itself to a complete stop and it requires your intervention, then you can bump up to resume. This button right here changes the following distance, so that's going to be the longest following distance, mid following distance, shortest following distance. I typically use this system in my own vehicles on freeways during relatively heavy traffic, so I will usually select the shortest following distance in those conditions, because if you choose one of the longer ones, you leave enough room for people to cut you off and get in front of you, and you're just going to end up going in reverse on the freeway. So that's the way that I typically do it. There is one other component to this system. If I push the OK button on this particular car right here, I can turn the steering assist on and off. So that is the part of the adaptive cruise control where if it can read the lane lines, then it will help you center your steering. But again, this is not a self-driving system. It is meant for you to be paying attention and keeping your hands on the wheel. But I will leave my steering assist active. So with all that being said, let's get out on the road and try it out. All right, we are out on the road. We have the system active. We're gonna bump down on the toggle switch to set the speed, and we will see if we catch up with the car in front of me. I currently have it set to the speed limit, so we'll see if that's fast enough. So the little graphic of the car ahead of me, ahead of the two green bars, that shows that we are locked on to the vehicle in front of us. The two green bars indicates that I'm currently using the medium following distance, and then the two green lines to our sides mean that the cameras can read the lane lines and my steering assist is active. Now, traffic is slowing down. The car is slowing down on its own. I do not have my foot on the gas or the brake, and we are just cruising behind this vehicle. Certain things that you always want to look out for is if somebody's going to cut you off, you can just go ahead and hit the brake. You don't want to be cut off too close from the side. Now traffic is slowing down. Let's see if we'll come to a complete stop. The light ahead has already turned green. This right here is where these systems do their best work. So as you can see, we didn't come to a complete stop there. Got down to like 5 miles an hour, but now we're just speeding up, and I have not touched the brake pedal or the gas pedal. Now this person gets out of my way, so we can see here, we are not locked onto a target. It has not yet found the next car in front of us. That little audible beep that you just heard indicates that it actually has found that car. So now we're locked onto the car in front of us. I have my speed set to a maximum of 40 miles per hour, so that's as fast as it will go. If this guy ahead of us starts going faster than 40, we will not follow. We'll just do 40 until we catch up with someone else. And now we have a red light up ahead. Traffic is slowing down. The vehicle is slowing down on its own. And boom. Just came to a complete stop by itself. Now, as I said during the intro, this is a 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander SE. Different Mitsubishi models may have different systems. If you have an older one, it may not bring itself to a complete stop. Now, I just bump this RES to resume, and off we go. Oh, and now this person's cutting me off. Now, they're not quite close enough for me to have to hit the brakes, but if they were much closer or if we were going faster, I would have. So this system mainly looks forward. Peripheral vision is not its strong suit. So if somebody cuts you off and slams on their brakes, that's why you need to be paying attention, because that's the type of scenario where the driver may have to intervene, get involved, hit the brakes. You know, you're still driving the vehicle. This is just a driver assistance system. Something else to keep in mind is what type of vehicle am I following? If you're just following a regular sedan, SUV, whatever, no issues. The example I always use is a flatbed delivery truck with nothing on the bed. Are you locked onto the bed of the truck, or are you locked on to the back of the cab? So keep an eye on it in that situation. If you feel like you're following the vehicle too closely, take control yourself. As we can see, we're coming to another stop here. Once again, I have not touched the gas or the brake really since I set the cruise. So the car is currently holding itself at a stop, and that time I just tapped the gas pedal. That's the other way that you can reactivate the adaptive cruise control once the vehicle in front of you starts moving. So now we are moving once again. This person's getting in front of me. That was a reasonable distance. Again, the little beeps you're hearing is the car telling me that it's locked on to a new target. And cruise we do. So, a couple other things to keep in mind. If it's very icy, really wet, rainy, snowy conditions, I don't recommend using the system in those type of scenarios, because really at that point you need to be paying maximum attention and not giving the car that much control, just for safety's sake. Another thing is motorcycles. I don't like using it to follow motorcycles. I don't recommend that, because I've tried it in a lot of different cars. They usually do lock onto motorcycles, but it just makes me nervous because it's a smaller target. And if the car gets confused and you hit somebody on a bike, that's a lot worse than hitting somebody on a car. So that's just a personal recommendation from me. Don't use it to follow motorcycles. I don't use it for that. But, you know, if you're behind a BMW 430 coupe, oh, that's a Grand Coupe, excuse me, it should be able to figure that out just fine. Am I missing anything from my perfect explanation of this system? Not really. I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm going to bump up to resume to get moving again. On the navigation link one that this car has, it will alert you if the speed limit changes and kind of prompt you if you want to either bump to the plus or minus to adjust the speed that you have your adaptive cruise set to, so that you're not exceeding the maximum posted speed limit. And that's pretty much the extent of what I've figured out that it can do. And that's kind of it. It's a pretty simple system to use in this car. I think because the new Mitsubishi Outlander is based on the Nissan Rogue, this is very similar to the Nissan ProPilot Assist system, which I've also used and done a video about. So if you have a different model Nissan, or your buttons look different from this, It may function a little bit differently, but check your owner's manual as far as the capabilities, just to make sure that the vehicle has what's commonly referred to as all-speed adaptive cruise control, which means that it's able to bring itself to a complete stop. Some of the older systems will disable themselves at like 20 miles an hour. So just keep that in mind. But all of the general principles of these instructions work for most adaptive cruise control systems. They all function pretty similarly. Push a button to activate the system, toggle a switch or push a button to set your speed, use the plus or minus to adjust your speed, and then once it brings itself to a complete stop, typically either hit resume and or tap the gas, and or either one will work to get it moving. And always be aware of your surroundings and drive safely. And if you have any questions about this or any other adaptive cruise control system, please put them in the comments. I will do my level best to answer them for you. The car is slowing down so that people can move out of the way of this sign. I don't know how they got that close to it in the first place, but people do things that just don't always make sense sometimes on the road. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. I appreciate you watching very much. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, tell me how wonderful I am, and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.